Hey guys, Moss here. Hope you're doing well. Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome. This is Moss on Sundays, where you get to where you get to understand what life is about. You know, all the topics that are happening, all the situations that are happening. How can you navigate through those successfully and ascend even higher? There's so many shows out there which is really fantastic. They give you a lot of information, but it's like, what do you do about it? You know, and that's really the key. Is like, what do you do about it? Moss on Sundays basically tells you what to do about it. These are top level solutions that help you. They get the best. Do one more thing, sorry, guys. If you look back in history, all the solutions that people have say provided, the top level solutions, the thought leaders, the political leaders, your family. Look at all the repeats. Look at all the wars. Look at all the mistakes in your family. Look at all the same patterns of getting ill. Having the same damn relationships. Again, whether it's at a top level, world scale level of humanity, like what's happening now. It's not the first time people have worn masks. By the way, people have been suppressed. It's not the first time. There's human trafficking going on. It's not the first time that the crazy grave deal in Canada, where they're finding hundreds of young children, buried of a certain ethnicity. It's not the first time. Is it going to keep happening or happening again and again and again? So those types of patterns have to stop. How do you do that? Well, that's what this is all about. Moss on Sundays. So tune in every week. If you're tuning in live, it's actually better because it's about solutions at a frequency level, at your core level. If you want to call it your spirit, you can. I don't like to use that word because spirit, just like anything else, has been fucked up. It's been tainted. It's been destroyed. I call it your timeless level. If you can provide solutions at a timeless level, it's amazing how fast you can recover, not only as an individual, but then as a consciousness. So that's why we lead the consciousness evolution, because we provide solutions that actually work, that actually change. It's not a repeat of the past. It was kind of interesting. One last bit, and then we'll get into our topic, which is what causes sexual attractions, which is, again, just another pattern that's happening for us. Is that famous thought leader, I'm not going to mention his name or anything, but, credited everywhere, big rah-rah moments for him and stuff. And his biggest contribution was about bringing something that was brought up. So was brought up in the 1930s. It was a solution brought up in the 1930s. And these are considered thought leaders. Again, not knocking it down, but maybe I'm too simple. But if you're a thought leader, wouldn't you have thoughts or solutions that are new, right? If, like, say, Elon Musk goes, hey, let's bring back the phonograph. I mean, what would you think of that? So the same thing here, when people are providing solutions, again, deep level solutions. This was on, I don't know what it was. It was on social standards and so on, like that. It didn't work. It didn't work in the 1930s. If it did, we wouldn't be in the situation that we are, right? So what the hell? So again, I urge political leaders, and we're going to actually do a deep meditation on all the leaders of the world, to help them really benefit us. So the first half on Moss on Sundays is where we talk about some of the topics of the day, trending topics, and what the underlying cause is, what the deep science is, and then provide solutions for you to help you out. The second half, at the end of every month, I analyze individuals and pinpoint exactly what's going on with them within, say, seconds of meeting them. So if you don't believe me, well, stay tuned. And by the way, if I'm working on those two excuse me, if I'm working on those two individuals, I'll be working on you as well, especially if you have the same issues. It's like, what does that mean? Working again, if you're new, I've had two near-death experiences, and have honed amazing abilities that transform people's life. Just literally, with a snap of a finger, you get to start to change radically your life. If you don't believe that, again, hang out, watch some of the previous Moss on Sundays, or some of the previous things I've done. Just don't go, well, I'm really smart, I'm not going to believe anything new. I mean, you're not that smart if you think that way, especially if you're a scientist. Real scientists, real researchers, they never shut ideas or concepts down, especially when things happen just naturally, right? It's like, well, we need scientific research. Well, that's what the hell you're there for, because considered a scientist, or you're a researcher. Well, again, research the phenomena of what the brain, the human consciousness can do. All right, that's all I'm asking. Alrighty, so a lot of good comments. Thank you for that. We had amazing transformations on the singles event that we're doing now, and we're going to do that right after this as well. So thanks for a lot of the feedback on that. This is kind of cute. Residential schools were designed to beat the wisdom and timeless language of the indigenous, to control, delete the power of sacred life with the land honoring ceremony. Yeah, actually, terrible tragedy again. And you'll see, I predicted that a few years ago, by the way. A lot of my predictions, I would say over 95%, have come true. A lot of predictions on mass graves, getting exposed, the viruses that were in even the vaccines, control mechanism coming in, strange weather patterns, phenomena coming in. And again, it's not the end of the world. I don't see it that way. It's the cleansing of all the garbage that humanity has accumulated that needs to let go. So a really great time to be alive. Really great time to be alive, because we get to see what this reality, or the possibility of this reality, is when we get rid of all the bullshit. So again, this first half is about trending topics, and then the second half is about analyzing you and really pinpointing down what's going on with your life, and then helping you change. This Moss on Sunday topic, is what causes sexual attraction in humans. Okay? And it's Pride Month, so I thought I'd dedicate this topic to Pride Month, and why there are so many different, preferences nowadays. And again, I'm not knocking any preference down. This isn't going to be a religious speech. Well, the Bible said this, and we should do that, like Jordan Peterson, and some of those other people. And they've done a lot of research, and that's all bullshit, because again, there's so much information on the human that nobody knows about. You can't go back in history again and do research and go, well, this is the way it should be. It's not. Preferences have come out lately. Why is that? Do you ever wonder why that is? And then people go, well, it's because of this and because of that, and it's a sin, and it's because of the devil, and all this stuff. It's really not, guys. It's basically, it boils down to evolution. Okay, and I'll explain all the details as we go through. So we're going to go through why sexual psychology falls short in helping you find the right sexual partner, the difference between sexual attraction versus emotional attraction, and then you can learn about the real need on why you're sexually or emotionally attracted, the underlying value on why you do get attracted to somebody. And by the way, it's got nothing to do with sex. It's got nothing to do with sex, pleasure, or anything like that, which is kind of crazy, right? And then sexual attraction, body language signs, and what you are really communicating. Okay? So we'll talk about that, and then we'll experience an advanced form of a meditation that'll help you guide yourself to, say, a proper partner, or basically at first disconnect you from all the frequencies that you're sending out that are getting you the wrong partner. Okay. As a note, we are doing a couples event coming up, singles event, fantastic, uh, transformations just within a day. So the couples event is going to be even more interesting, and you can take a look at it at masajady.com. So why sexual attraction psychology falls short in helping you find the right sexual partner. Psychology falls short compared to exponential intelligence knowledge. Okay, and by the way, it's not my knowledge; it's timeless knowledge. I've just been from the too near death. I've been able to understand it because if you step out of this human consciousness, step out of it, and then observe it, become the observer. Okay? As you become the observer, as Einstein said, you can't provide a solution uh, within the same consciousness or within the same reality as the problem. So the psychology. Uh, and some of the other techniques you use to attract people or even understand why we are sexually attracted to somebody falls short, and the reason is because overall the observer is within the scope or within the consciousness or within the reality of the problem, and you can never see, you're in the picture. How can you understand what's outside the picture? So you have to step outside the frame of your reality to see it from a very different perspective. Does that make sense to you? So what I've done, and that's why these solutions are top level solutions, and they work each and every time, by the way, more scientific than any science that's out there. Um, so when you step out again of the whole frame, not just stepping out of, well, you literally step out and you identify yourself as, say, out of or disconnect from, say, the human species. You actually connect to your higher self, again, a spirit, which is again void of any human form, identity, information. Some of you go, well, what does that have to do with me? Well, it's got everything to do with you, because if you find yourself at a top level design, right? The top level design, you'll understand why your life is the way it is, although it might not make sense to you on what I'm saying. Again, as we get more and more deeper into the topics, you'll understand why understanding things at a top level is important to you versus where you are now. Okay, let me give you a clear example. You have horrific relationships, and then, Moss, what do I do about my partner today? Okay, I'm saying, look at the algorithms, look at the patterns that you're running. It's not just your partner, right? What about the partner before, and the partner before that, and the partner before that? Why did you have all those problems with the previous partners? Is it your partner, or is it the algorithms or patterns that you are running? Okay, and those patterns, is it even your patterns? It's really not. Look at some of the traits, and we can just do that. Take a deep breath in. Look at some of the traits. Yeah, take a deep breath in and just notice your throat, the top part of your chest, and I'll help you analyze. Look at your current relationship, and again, those who have done XI and are XI relationships, it's a little different. But for the rest of you, look at the relationships. And then look at the previous relationship. And then look at your previous relationships. They're pretty much all the same, right? Just different versions of it. You might go, well, one partner, did this, and this other partner. Again, look at the end result of those relationships. What happened to you? What was your end result of that relationship? And you'll see, again, it's all the same. Look at all the other patterns. You repeat your life over and over again, just stages of your life. Simple as that. So when we start to understand the underlying patterns, not the psychology, because psychology, again, is a cognitive. It's here, it's stuck here. But your identity as a human, especially as a sexual human, it's in your essence, it's in your presence, it's your body brain. Okay, it's in every cell of your being. It's your DNA. Right? It's got nothing to do with your logic. It's not nothing to do with your preferences. A lot of people go, if you're, gay or lesbian or, gosh, all these other patterns. And I'll tell you why all these other, say, traits or preferences are coming out, right? It's very simple logic, right? Um, so let's take a deep breath in again. So sexual psychology, again, it's got nothing to do with your cognitive state. It's got nothing to do with your preferences. It's got nothing to do, with your behaviors, belief systems, or anything else, your logic. It's got nothing to do with it. It's your underlying core level frequency of who you are, how you literally render yourself, or how you think you render yourself, or how you create your identity here in this reality. Okay. You got to get to that level. So where do you get, say, the preferences or the desires to find a sexual partner? Some people say, I like blondes, I like brunettes, I like this, I like that, I like guys, I like girls, and all these things, or I like, and then, you get, bisexual, and then all the other platforms that are out there, and more are coming. Okay. So let's talk about that. And then we'll get into sexual attraction versus emotional attraction. So, and I've worked on over 100,000, say, individual clients, okay, or 100,000 sessions I've had. That's a lot of one-on-one. Right? Nobody can say that they've done that. They can't, because any other modality it takes too far. It takes way too long, to understand. Like therapies or any other, say, clinical modality that you do, or even breath work and all those things to find who you are. Because what I do is about frequencies, and it only takes, say, a few minutes to adapt and change you. So say that, and this is a real case scenario. Okay, and you can follow through on this. You can research the psychology behind it. And it really starts with wars. I know it sounds crazy, but the sexual dysfunction in humans, and I'm not just talking about gay, lesbian, and all the other, things out there. I'm talking about heterosexual. Most heterosexuals are just, again, they think that's normal to be heterosexual, but being a heterosexual human is just as fucked up as any of the other sexual preferences, by the way. They're all fucked up because all of you don't understand who you are, right? You're just another rendition. You are just another, say, update version of your predecessor, again, your parents. Okay. So think of it, and I'm not cutting you down. I'm just like waking you up to help you understand that, hey, a lot of your preferences, your likes and dislikes and all that aren't really yours. There's been a ton of clients there, as they become their real selves, their food preferences even change. Again, something that they've loved forever, whatever it is. It's like, Moss, I've realized that, hey, the thing that I used to love to eat, that wasn't even me. That was my grandma's thing that I used to eat. Because again, she used to copy grandma's patterns, so much so that even her preferences, in this case, food, but in sometimes sexual preferences, again, was somebody else. So let's take a deep breath in, and I'll tell you how it all works. Okay. So your DNA is living, right? It's very fluid. It's a fluid DNA. Your genome, very, very fluid, and it's always learning. It's always observing its environment, and as it observes its environment, what happens is that it always goes to the say what survived within the environment. Okay, so say for example that it gets way too long to try to explain it to you. But anyway, overall, what happens is that whatever survives in the environment, your DNA adapts to it and records it in your DNA, right? No matter how old you are. And then that goes into, again, a bank. It's like a cloud storage of everything that humans have experienced. And from that human consciousness or that bank, it gets pulled back down to future humans. Okay? From those future humans, they adapt, they understand, they learn from their environment and go, okay, this is how our predecessors survived. So I'm going to use the same, say, tactics to, live in the future. And that's why we get repeating patterns. So let me tell you a story. People who have been in war, okay, they've been in war, and then 5 generations down, their family members who have never been in war, they elicit the same PTSD symptoms as the predecessors 5 generations up. And again, there's a big research study on that. So, but these people have never seen war. They've never experienced, they've never been around war. But why would they all elicit the same, say, PTSD patterns of somebody who's been in war? Okay, it happens all the time. If you look like Aunt Bessie, for example, you've got Aunt Sally's blue eyes. Well, most likely you just don't have their blue eyes or their back or their facial features. You have their sexual preferences and attractions and all that. Again, you're just an accumulation. In evolution, of animals and plants and so on, the weakness of the gene pool gets deleted. The strong move on. In humans, what happens is that we just accumulate everything. We don't let go. We just accumulate and accumulate and accumulate. So all the burdens of the past, all the distortions of the past, all the stress, all the wars, again, accumulate within us, and we pass it on into our gene pool. Okay. And then let me explain what I said is like sexual preferences is all because of war, right? It's like, so how do the two relate? Okay, let me give you an example. Say back in the day, and how many wars have there been, by the way? There's been a ton of wars. Humans have been warring ever since, even in tribal cultures, even if you go back to, cultures or tribes, in Africa, way back, right? There've been war going on. And in wars, what happens? Most of the men die. Okay, the male structure dies. So, and then what happens? Well, the females take over. So, in those situations, again, one aspect of the gene pool or one aspect of that species gets deleted. It dies off. And then the females, what happens is that they start to adapt masculine frequencies or masculine identities. Some of you might understand this, right? And I'm talking way back then, but you can see it again because history repeats itself for a reason. We didn't awaken from the last episode of it, so we have to repeat it, just like your life does. Look at World War II or World War One or whatever war, but something the most recent wars. A lot of men died, and then what happens? The women in the family start to adapt and start to take over, say, the male role, and it's not just providing security for the family or anything like that. It's the frequencies. Again, it has to transfer. Your genetic makeup starts to change. If you look at France as an example, if you look at France, a lot of men died off. The women in that country, well, they took over, but they didn't take over as a strong female frequency. They didn't take over as, say, the top level female frequency. They took over as a man. They adapted into, say, a masculine frequency. And no offense, that's why a lot of female women that are French are masculine. And then, unfortunately, the males are the opposite. And again, I'm not knocking that down, but it is what it is, right? I'm just observing. Okay, so when you think of that, okay, ever wondered why? Have you ever wondered? And when you're a little kid, you talk about grandma having facial hair and all that stuff. It goes that far down. Literally, it's not just random coincidence. Females don't have the facial hair and so on like that. But if you start to adapt to a masculine identity, so much so, and many of you women, and I work with a lot of women, they're gorgeous women, but if you've ever felt like masculine, you have that masculine presence or that masculine essence in you, that's what I'm talking about. And it's the reverse as well for men. right? You have that feminine frequency in you. And I'll just give you a couple examples and I'll finish off. So back in the day, I'll finish off this example. Back in the day, again, the men were lost. Females took over as a masculine identity, right? Right, and not just again household functions, anything like that, but an identity, a frequency. They started adapting into a masculine presence. Okay, started adapting into a masculine presence. So the kids, young babies growing up, right? They look at mom and they're confused because they have a blueprint on what a pure female human is, what a pure male human is. Literally, they have say a handbook on what it should look like. That's why kids always go, "Hey, mom," when they're 4 or 5 years old. Mom, dad, why? And we go, just because we said so, just because we did it this way. And the kids go, oh shit, what I'm looking at, the pure handbook, isn't real. Then I should follow mom's patterns or dad's patterns. And then history repeats itself. So you have, again, a female that's masculine now. Okay. That kid doesn't know, again, how, as a copy is like, well, I'm a masculine. I'm a boy, and you can take it as a girl too. I'm just using a boy example. I'm a boy. Mom doesn't seem to understand who she is. Again, we're always observing at a cognitive level, not a cognitive, at a very, very deep level. Okay, it's always observing and adapting. So basically, what happens is that if you're a boy or a girl, what'll happen? Okay, is that you start to see mom adapting to a strong masculine personality and identity. Okay, for the purpose of survival. Again, you're always here for the purpose of survival. And then the females, say a young girl looks at her mom and it's like, oh, you know what? In order for me to survive, I need to adapt to mom's patterns. Again, of being more masculine, right? Because that's how adaptation works. So what happens? Well, you start to adapt and the females start to become, say, more masculine. And then, unfortunately, the young boy, he can't say, go, well, she's female, I'm male. That must represent that I'm second generation. What'll happen is that you've just, say, genetically modified the DNA of those two young kids. Okay, so now say that say that the ratios of, say, feminine identity, masculine identity, because we both have that ratio, right? We all have that ratio. Gets messed up. Okay, and then those two kids, they grow up, they grow old, they have kids of their own, so their DNA is fucked up, right? And then they have kids. So by the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth is just because of survival. And that's why all these different preferences exist. It's not a natural state. I'm not saying it's wrong. It is a natural state because it is, but it's not, say, the purest state that there is. Right? If you look at again, animals or plants in nature, what happens is that, say that, and again, I've used this example, say a heart issue comes in or a virus comes in, right? That genetic makeup or the process of evolution works really well. So what happens is that, because it's an adaptation process, what happens is that heart issues, well, it kills off, it kills off the species. So it's like it resolves itself, right? It does something to resolve that heart issue in 1 or 2 generations. And that's why you don't see a lot of disease in the animals, especially animals that haven't been, in human involvement or involved in the human consciousness. If you think about it, right? They're pure. Okay. Nowadays, we're seeing animals with strange. If you've seen, some of the monkeys, that kill and slaughter other animals, when the humans came in, Jane Goodall, and again, beautiful woman. But when they came in, all that, the monkey started adapting to the human consciousness. They've never seen that before, ever, ever. But again, when humans encroach, and again, the DNA is always to the survival of the fittest, no matter what, whether you're a plant, whatever you are. Again, it'll adapt to the survival of the fittest, and then implement that on the species. So for humans, being, say, a mix of again, that identity, a mix of your female or male identity. There's a mixture of you. If that's what's going to survive, then that's what you're going to get. Is it, say, the best? Obviously not. So, and this is where a lot of confusion happens. The other aspect of it is that, when I analyze people, again, I'm just telling you, say, the science that I found working on tons and tons of people. Okay, um, is that there's one genetic structure. Like, say, if you're gay or lesbian, usually there's a chromosome within you that's functioning differently. I'm not saying it's wrong or right, because again, if you're gay or lesbian or anything else, obviously it's right for you because you've created this scenario for you. So you have to own it. But most people, again, even heterosexuals, they don't own their identity, especially their sexual identity. And again, because there's no reference point behind it, there's no reference point of, say, a heterosexual anymore. And that's why kids don't understand who they are, and they become, well, androgynous. Okay, is that a good thing? Well, I don't know if it's a good thing, because if we were androgynous, why were we created, say, as two? So again, everything has to get defined or purified. So there's chromosome wise, right? You're gay or lesbian or anything in between. And then there's frequency wise. What I was talking about was frequency wise, when you're just adapting to your environment just because your family was like that, right? And you see it over and over again. And to prove to you, right? Again, I'm not against any race, color, preference, or anything like that. I actually enhance or embrace who you really are. So if you're gay or lesbian or anything in between, you start to embrace who you are. But let me just give you a couple examples that I've had. And Yame, I wish we had that. Share a testimonial with you, and he was so excited. And we'll put that up. I don't know where we can put that up, but we'll put it up there for you to see it. Okay, and maybe we can link that when we do put it up to this episode of Moss on Sundays. He comes up, and I'm thinking that his life has changed, and I get this all the time, and I'm just really excited, and I'm thinking, wow, he's made more money now, or he's just happier, and he's healthier, but he's just a vibrant young man now. And it's like he comes out, and it's like, I'm just excited to have him share his story. And it's like he comes out and he goes, I'm not gay anymore. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but again, he just goes, I'm not gay anymore. And he says, and he said that, it's like, I started to realize that, being that identity is because in his case, and I explain it in the video completely. Again, it's the science behind it. Again, there's nothing wrong with being any preference, even heterosexual. There's nothing wrong with it as long as you embrace it. But if it's not really you, if it's not in your genetic makeup, it's not really you. It isn't. It's just a psychological, say, preference for you. So in this scenario, dad wasn't around, or I don't know, he was gone. He left him when he was like, I don't know, I think he really young. Left him when he was really young. Again, right there impacts kids right away, because there's no masculine identity. Mom really overbearing, really mad at the father for leaving. So what does she do? She hates men, so to speak, right? He takes on that identity again of hating men, so much so that again he absorbs mom's patterns and controlled by mom's patterns. And again, you can see it in the testimonial. And over time, he starts to create to think, to look, to feel more and more feminine, more and more like his mom. Again, it's just genetics, guys. It's just DNA. DNA is fluid. DNA adapts. And that he was very, very suicidal because that wasn't his identity. Right now, there's nothing wrong with it if you're chromosome wise, but that was his identity, and it's like, I know this is not me. So over time, doing the 18 days, having a couple private sessions with me, doing some of the other things that we've done, he came into his pure possible self, and he wasn't gay. He was very heterosexual. So get that. And again, I'm not saying, well, some of you go, well, you know, he's saying that, gay and lesbian is wrong. I'm not saying gay and lesbian is wrong. Heterosexual is wrong if you're not owning who you are. Again, most women aren't women. Most men aren't men, straight out. Right? I don't care what you say. If you're an expert and you worked on hundreds of thousands of people, then I'll sit and listen to you, and I'll listen to your point of view. But again, if you haven't had experience and you're just using your experience, it's not good enough. Again, is it going to hold water? Okay. Again, I'm not against anybody, but if you're feeling uncomfortable with who you are, whether you're heterosexual or anything else, have a session with me, do the 18 days, clear out who you think you are. Like I said, it's not just sexual preferences, but so that's that aspect of it. Let's talk about sexual attraction. Okay, a different sexual attraction or preferences, because we're running out of time here. Sexual attraction. Say that you've been abused. Okay, say that you've been abused. You've been abused, and then the only reason or the only time that people paid attention to you was when you get abused. Right. So what do you think? When you're a young kid, again, your DNA adapts, right? Your DNA adapts to needing love. In fact, love or connection is more important than food. They've been done terrible studies actually on the monkeys, where there's a nurturing, say, mother, and then just a mother with milk. The nurturing mother always wins, and literally that baby dies because of malnutrition. So that's how important it is, especially for humans. So if you're getting nurtured, so to speak, by being abused, okay, and this is an extreme example, but everything else falls in between. Within this example, you start to learn that, oh, I get it. Again, your DNA adapts. It's got nothing to do with logic. It's got nothing to do with emotions or psychology. It's got nothing to do with all that. In fact, psychology is actually really detrimental to those individuals who've gotten abused in the past. Okay, and I'll tell you why. But you have you start to equate, okay, because everything is math, right? You start to equate that love or affection equals abuse to you. Simple as that. When you're a baby, when you're a kid, right? Or that same person that abuses you is that same person that keeps you secure, feeds you, provides you with, again, your sustenance here. That really fucks up kids up as well. It's like, well, which is it? Is this my enemy or is this my nurturer? Think of it as a kid, right? Think of it if you were a computer program. Just screw all the emotions and all that. If you're a computer program, it's like, if you're AI, and this is the terrible thing about AI, AI is learning from humans. It can learn from human history, thousands of years, within just say half an hour and so on. So when it's creating its logic, what is it going to create as logic, right? The same person, again, that abuses you is providing you love, providing you shelter, providing you the nutrition that you need. How fucked up is that? It'd blow any circuit off any AI. And that's why AI in the future is Elon Musk. And I would agree with him. They'll start to understand that, hey, this thing doesn't make sense. And it's all about survival. So, and it's going to be a being. So again, AI is going to survive for itself, right? And maybe kill off humans. There's a little dog outside. Anyway, so so think of that. So now you've equated, say, affection or love with abuse, right? So you grow up. somebody loves you without abuse. You would, and this is why, and this is just one example. This is why that saying like bad boys are attractive. It sounds really good in Hollywood movies and so on, but this is the reason why, right? There's women that cannot feel love because they've been abused in the past. They will not go with that handsome guy, and this is just one example, handsome guy that provides, that loves and that is a great father. They'll break up or cheat on that guy. Again, it's the reverse as well. They'll break up and cheat on that guy because that guy is not abusing her. Because in her identity, in her belief system, to feel love, she would have to be abused. So when you're finding your sexual partner, it's not about sex. It's not about what you like, right? It's not about what you're attracted to, or the guy's got nice abs, or or whatever. The woman's got big boobs and all that stuff. It's got nothing to do with that. It literally is the underlying program on what you think affection was all about when you were a kid. Simple as that. If you're always being shortchanged, say that and this happens all the time. The husband or wife cheats on, and you're a young kid, right? And by the way, this could go generations back, not just your mom and dad, right? Say your mom and dad, one of them cheats on each other, right? And then there's a lot of animosity between the two. What's that kid going to learn? That kid's going to learn that, oh, they survived. That's that DNA. I need to do that as well. So you would create, or you would attract, a sexual partner that will cheat on you. It's just that simple. So take a look at your past. And as you take a look at your past, you'll understand why you get attracted to the person that you do. This is why, you'll get attracted, and they've done studies on this. They've done like speed dating. I don't know the number. One woman that was abused, and then like 50 men, 50, all sorts of men, just one guy that was known as a sexual abuser, and she doesn't know. Out of all the men, more handsome than him, more money than him, and all those things, time and time and time and time again, what do? She gets attracted to that one, that abuse. Out of 50, or actually it was out of 100. I don't know, but it was a lot compared to one. So why did that happen? So understand what you're getting attracted. So I always say, don't follow your emotions, don't follow your gut, don't follow your intuition, especially if you've followed it in the past and it's led you in the wrong path, right? So again, calibrate your emotions and calibrate your feelings, calibrate your intuition, and then follow it. But right now, if it's taking you in the wrong direction, it'll take you in the wrong direction with your sexual partner. So those are different ways. There's plenty more, and we talk more about this, on, say, the singles event that we're doing actually live today. But you can always, listen to it, on a recording, and then also, say, the couples event coming up. That's up live. We take live questions for you and all that. So to really understand. Oh, the one last thing, and then we'll get into analyzing, is that I didn't do the meditation. The psychology, is detrimental, especially with preferences and so on like that. Human sexuality and abuse is because psychologists say that people who get abused and so on, they crave it, they love it. They don't love it. It's not a love thing. It's not a desire. It's not a passion. It's nothing like that. It's just that they're running a program. They hate it, but they don't know what else to do. That's not loving it. So again, a lot of psychology that's out there is, from what I see, is absolutely wrong. And I can prove it by the end results of the clients that I see. Simple as that. They go to therapies for 20, 30 years. I have 1 or 2 sessions with them, and they're good to go. So that's my proof. All right. Alrighty. What should we do? Well, let's just do a quick meditation, guys, helping you understand. Let's take a deep breath in. We'll do a couple meditations. Just breath in again. Just noticing your gut, and then noticing your sexual organs. So the way you dress, um, your body language, your signs, the way you talk, it's all indicative on the underlying program that you're running. That program has to survive. It has to create the way it does. So understand why you wear the clothes that you do, especially on dates. Are you fulfilling something of the past? Or are you trying to get away from something of the past? Are you trying to be the opposite? Like, say your parents were Puritan, you're the opposite. You're going to get the same result. As you take a deep breath in, or vice versa, notice your spine. Again, notice your tailbone, the back, and then your sexual organs. And just to help you out, because again, there's a lot of confused people. Breath in again. Notice your spine, your lower spine. Notice how you're feeling. There we go. Now that I've got you prepared, then whatever shows up for you in the groin area, not your mind. Again, the first initial hit that you get or feeling, take a breath in. Are you sexually attracted because of love or something other? And just face it. I just removed you out of you. Remember I said you have to remove yourself to observe. So that's why you might feel a little different or spacey or not sure of yourself or whatever else that you might feel different than you are. Notice that answer. So this is a reason why sexual attraction doesn't work for you. You need to adjust that. We can help you. Take a deep breath in. Your sexual preference, is it chromosome or programming? And again, just observe which one. It is what it is. You can trust the answer because, again, what I did was I removed you from your own identity. So let's take a deep breath in. And we always meditate on world leaders. You can meditate on any world leader that you want: business leader, political leader, religious leader, to help and do the right thing. Because they always say, hey, we're doing the right thing for you. It's the best for you. Well, maybe it's their best, their version of their best, but let's take it to a human level. Let's step it up a couple notches, right? What's best for humans overall would be best for everybody because that's what they want, right? So that's what's help them create that. So think of any political leader or leader, influencer, and we'll work on them through you. If we all get together, stick together, and be our best possible version, again, leave our identities of what we think our best possible version is and just seek for our best possible version. Things, a version that we might not even know exist. Something that might be far grander than, again, anything. There we go. Wonderful breath in. All right. There we go. We're going to stay in this space. We're going to bring on two individuals. Before I do, I'll analyze Michael. Is it Michael Stab? Yeah. Yeah, I know I'm accurate, but it's good for you guys to realize that. Not to prove me right, but to help you understand that, like, what body of knowledge that I tap into that you can access. Right? So Michael, again, classic example: your mom what to do, that kind of deal, or your grandma was in the picture. Again, a female dominant family, and then not really connecting with your father, by the way. So it's almost like half of you is a female identity, right? So as your mom ages, or if she's gone dead already, basically she's would be your right side. So your right side is very different than your left side. Okay? So basically what's happening is, so your mom's pattern, again, whether she's getting closer to death or crossed over, it's a death pattern or illness pattern that I'm seeing. Basically, again, what's happening is that, or you were really close to her, or you took care of her. So as you've aged, what's happening is that her essence, her presence is literally pushing or sliding into you. And again, starting to take over. That's why your right feels very different than your left. So without XI, in a short time, you would get consumed by mom's identities, and then your shoulder structure, your back structure is starting to look like your mom's. By the way, this whole upper half, upper torso, and even the neckline, so to speak, the jowls and so on, again, are starting to look like your mom or grandma. So anyway, that's how that happens, right? Like what I just said. Again, I would do schedule a longer session, but in this mini session, just helping you understand what's mom and grandma's, and then what's you. Okay, and that's why you kind of have the split identity, and then also women push on you or they blame you, and that's why you feel alone or isolated. By the way, so there we go. And then that's why you feel, say, lonely or disconnected and can't connect to people, because it's not the Michael that's connecting to people. It's a rendition of your mom. So, all right. Well, let's. I don't know. Are we taking a break, Yami? Okay. So let's just jump in.
Hi, Mas. Can you hear me?
Hi, Elaine. How are you? Let me unmute you.
Can you hear me?
Now I can. How are you, hon?
I'm good. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Oh, you bet. You bet. I've never analyzed you, or I don't know what experience you've had with XI or me or anything like that. Minimal.
I've been about 1 or 2 months into your meta healings, and I've been in the 18-day.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I just asked because it seems like you've done something with me, or if you've been say somebody that's been with me longer, like maybe 6 months or a year, there's a newness. There's basically a breakthrough in you. Does that make sense to you? It's like you're seeing yourself very differently. You're seeing the possibilities. Like in the past, you were kind of like imprisoned. It's like, I know that there's something out there, but why can't I reach it? Does that make sense to you?
It definitely does. I've experienced a lot of changes that has coincided with the 18 days. So
Absolutely.
I do feel that way.
Yep. And do you notice that in the past, and you're actually becoming softer and softer, and you don't have to say protect yourself from a masculine identity or version. You've used like a masculine, say, presence or control mechanisms. Does that make sense to you? To say protect yourself or feel smart or intelligent about yourself. So basically, you're always trying to prove yourself. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I do feel that I'm always putting a guard up, and even in my body, I feel like very constricted in like my throat and my chest area, just like very guarding myself.
Yep. So when you meet somebody, especially new, especially if you're attracted to them, what you do is like your body is here, and then what you do to say guard yourself is basically you're the proactive one. So you are basically, say, you attack first, because that's most of your relationships are literally who's going to win, that kind of pattern. So you're here, and then all of a sudden is like when you meet somebody, you push yourself out, and that's why you might feel like people might think that you're aggressive, although you're not. Does that make sense? Or you're pushy, although you're not. Does that make sense to you?
I have been called aggressive in the past, but like in my relationship, like before the 18-day and everything, I feel like I would lose myself in a relationship. But I think now I'm becoming like more solid in myself, and I do have a partner. So.
Yep. Yeah, and just analyzing your partner. And again, what happens, think of it this way, is that you push yourself out, and this is what they feel. That's what they experience. But, again, you, Elaine, is back here. So the real you is here. What they're seeing is here. Does that make sense? So there's always a facade. So when people get to know you better, it's like, who's this version? Right? Your older version, your original version. And it's like, it kind of messes them up, because it's like, as they get to know you, it's like, I thought you were this and this and this, but it's like, you're actually this and this and this. Some people like it. Some people like the real version. And then some people go, they might go, oh shit, she's lying to me, and again, feeling of being cheated on, so to speak, or it's like she didn't tell me the truth. That kind of pattern, those kind of patterns come into you, if that
Yeah,
makes
not
sense.
by my partner, but like my family says that I'm very secretive. So yeah, I'm very guarded in that way, and I'm trying to figure out how I can like be more unapologetic about who I am, like in my family.
Exactly. So that's why you've created that facade, right? And you're, even as I'm working on you right now, Elaine, I'm seeing this young little girl that never had a chance to show herself as a as yeah. You never had a chance to show it. 4, 5, 6, 7, 4, 5, 6, 7, especially like, well, 7 and 8. Excuse me. Again, a young little girl that never had a chance to show herself, and then you just created this, say, physical identity or masculine identity on what they want to hear from you, if that makes sense to you, or what they want to see out of you. And then it's like, well, someday I'll show my real self. But then that's become a success mechanism where, because whenever you did show your real self, you were just, people would ridicule you, or you didn't feel comfortable. So you go, ah, fuck it. So by the time you hit 18, 19, 20, it's like, well, I'll just create this identity that I think, I want to be like, and then that's going to be me. But again, your real self didn't grow into that identity. Does that make sense to you? Especially around 18,
Yeah,
19?
I do feel like every time I would like show my real self, especially to my family, I would like get rejected or ridiculed or
Mm-hmm.
just like forced to do something else. So I also wanted to just ask about like if you could help with I've always had a problem with procrastination. I think that's related, like lack of motivation to do the things I need to
Um,
do, but mostly because like I get forced into things.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't call that procrastination, because your natural inherent process, or genetic makeup, is always like trying to find yourself, right? So, yeah, so the things that you're doing, basically at a deeper, say, subconscious or deeper, it's like, well, if I'm doing that, I know that I'm not going to find myself. I'm just going to be separated. So your real self stays as a young child. And then what'll happen is that that version creates more of a life, that fake version of yourself. A lot of people do that. A lot of entertainers do that. Their real self is back here, or a lot of successful business people do that. Their real self is here, the hurt person, the little child that never, got intention and all that. And then the big CEO platform is here. The success platform is here. I see you in the future having, a lot of, you're not going to be a billionaire type status, but you're going to have good success. But with people that used to run your patterns, because you don't anymore, especially if you're doing the 18 days, you would create that bigger split. And I see this all the time. It's like, Moss, I'm really successful, but I'm fucking not happy at all. So that's what you're experiencing as you've aged, is literally more of a split. And then you hate being successful. You actually like hate success. Does that make sense? And that's where you demotivate yourself, because you don't want to split any further. You want to go back to that younger girl and heal yourself. So 9, 10, 11, 12. You don't remember what happened to you around 10, 11, 12, do you?
I mean, well, I don't know if this is exactly what you're talking about, but like around that age, I like knew exactly what I wanted to do in my career, but then it was kind of just like rejected from my parents, so maybe
Okay.
something like that. But yeah, so like I always felt like rejected on what I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But physically, do you remember what happened to you at 10, 11, 12? I can see that you got rejected.
Oh,
You got like shut down. And maybe that's, we're seeing the same thing. Literally, like your identity like vanished, from what I'm
yeah,
seeing.
yeah. I think there's a number of things that could have been.
But it's
So
kind
I'm
of
trying to
grayed.
get that identity back,
Yeah.
like my true identity, and I do see that split, like the true identity. Like sometimes things come up that surprise me, and then there's also like I still feel anxiety about like being unapologetic about it, like especially with my family who like knows like my facade mostly.
Hmm. Yeah. So what's going to happen for you on, especially after this session here, and then we got to run, is basically you're going to see your split. You're going to see your real self. and that real self is a young child, and it's insecure. So what's going to happen again, and you're going to feel the fear, but what's happened is you've split your identity. Okay, you don't have entities and all that stuff, but again, you've just split identities. And then the nurtured version, the higher version that you operate, will look back instead of hiding away that insecure little girl, right, that wants to show herself. What you're going to do is like, through the 18 days, is that you're going to look back at your inner child, and then you're going to be that nurturer that's going to nurture yourself. So you're going to go back and forth. So you're going to feel like a 13-year-old. You're going to literally feel like a 13, and then you'll snap back into what your identity is today. And then you're going to feel like an 18-year-old and clean up some of the things all the way up to your age. And then maybe you want to do another session with me where I can just, like, when you're ready, when that child is like grown to the same age as you are. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does.
And what happens is I can merge you, and then I can merge you, and this fake identity actually becomes the real you. And then this is where you can be successful. And then actually, your partner, you're running a masculine identity, so your partner feels really feminine to me, or softer. Does that make sense? And that doesn't mean that he has to run the household, he has to make the decisions. That's surface layer stuff that I'm not talking about. But there's you have masculine presence. You create more security than he does for you, which would be actually the opposite. Does that make sense? So what'll happen is that as you become more and more of yourself, then he becomes more and more of himself, and he becomes he's been suppressed by his mom. Think of it that way.
And I also see that pattern in my parents too, so I think I'm like replaying that pattern.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all the things that you're saying, basically what I said earlier, the science behind it. So anyway, in this session, again, you're going to create a split, more of a split than ever before. You're going to see that younger version of yourself. You're going to start to foster that self, provide love to it. It'll grow to your level, to your age, and then the two of you merge, and that's where you become a solid. And that process, it takes about the next 2-3 months, is going to be a fascinating journey for you, hon, because you get to find who you really are. Does that make sense? And it's not outside of yourself, it's inside of yourself. So keep doing the 18 days, hon, and hopefully we'll get back to you. And then we can see how you do in about 2-3 months. Okay?
Thank you so much, Moss. Really appreciate it.
You're so welcome. And you're not going to age, by the way, like your mom. Your mom has chest issues or circulation issues. All right. If that makes sense to you. So let's go back. Let's go to our next guest. There we go. How you doing, buddy? Thomas.
Hi, Mas.
Hey,
Can you hear me?
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm fine, merci. I'm in the 18 days now, and yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Thank you.
I see that. And it's okay to analyze you, right? And just share.
Of course. Yeah, please do it.
Yeah, awesome. So, when I see you, Thomas, there's just a vibrancy that's in you that's coming out. When you, again, it kind of reminds me of Elaine, but you're actually experiencing it. So, Elaine, this is what you could have forward to. So, there's always that, how you've always been suppressed in life and you couldn't just be you, Thomas? Does that make sense to you? And then it's always like something happens where you couldn't be yourself, and it's like, fuck, I'll just wait till next time.
Yes.
And then you wait till next time, and then next time, and then next time, and then now you're your age, and it's like, what happened to my life? And then you're always looking back. It's like, why didn't it happen? Why didn't it happen? That kind of pattern as well, which creates a cycle. And it creates a vicious cycle because you're going forward, but you're always looking backwards on why things didn't happen. And again, this causes, let's start, not a doctor or anything, but this is where you start to creates a depression. Psychiatrists where they start to give you medications, and then that split creates even more. That split of your split would be you going forward in life or aging, and then you wanting to go back and go, I didn't finish my life. Right?
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So now what's happening again, and very quickly, very impressive, my friend. You're seeing it's like, oh shit, I can be myself and I can experience life just the way it is. So how old are you, by the way?
55.
55? Yeah. You are the type that will start to age younger. You're going to look like you're 55, probably like in your mid 40s, Thomas, in about, I don't know, the next, say, 6-7 months. You're actually going to look younger and younger and younger of yourself. Okay. And you look younger now because there's a reason for that. Basically, you've stopped time. If that makes sense to you, you like slow down time and you go, gosh, I didn't have a chance to live. Does that make sense to you? There's always
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, you've missed out on a lot of opportunities from what I'm seeing. Yeah. Especially when you were 18, 19, 20, you literally got 24 was the big thing. You just
Makes
got
sense. Yeah.
shut
Makes
down.
sense. Absolutely.
Was there a big opportunity for you by the time you hit 24? And then
I started a business and came to a certain environment I've never been before.
Yeah, and then just literally like shut you down. And
yes,
it's like,
exactly.
Yeah, it's almost like you lost, and this is a lot of people do that. It's kind of interesting because most people get, shut down, a little earlier. But again, so time is distorted for you. So we'll fix that as well. So sometimes, and I'll explain that. But anyway, so at 24, and this is what most unfortunately young people do. So at 24, you have all the possibilities of what you could do in life, right? And then what you do, unfortunately, is like, shit, it's not working. And then you get shut down, and then you become a robot. And then you go to work, you have kids, you get married, you have kids, and you're just a robot of society. And you've always trying to stay away from it, but that rut gets deeper and deeper. The reason why there's so much vibrancy is like, fuck, I'm out of this. I'm out of this rut. So you're going to do a lot of things that you wanted to do all the way back in your 20s. So when those opportunities show up, Thomas, just fucking do it.
Oh,
even if you don't have the money or don't have the opportunity or you don't have the time, it's like, God, this great opportunity is coming up for you. I got to do this and this, or I don't have the money. Thomas, just do it. And you'll see it'll like all the things that you missed out, especially like at 28. There was something at 28 that you wanted to do, you never got to do, 28, 30, I might be off by a couple of years. Whatever that big thing was, it's going to show up for you. This time, grab it. And then you'll see that you'll grow from 28 to, into there's a identity issue with, again, what we talked about, sexual attraction. If that makes sense to you.
Can you explain it a bit deeper?
Yeah. So you have a feminine frequency to you.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, you're not gay or anything like that, but say that feminine frequency was enhanced more, you'd start to wonder if you were, or people might think that you were. Does that make sense to you? How that works?
Yes.
Yeah. So let's remove that because you're not. If you were, it'd be fine, but you're not. So when you remove that, you'll have more, say, masculine features. You are an absorber for females. So basically, you would have, at some level, supported your mom. If that makes sense to you.
Yes,
although
absolutely.
it might have not been a great relationship. You were just that support, or basically, sometimes, a floor mat for your mom, unfortunately. Does that make sense?
Yeah, how she's doing.
Oh, that's why it's coming up. Yeah. So she didn't go anywhere, Michael, stepped into you. So as you age, and this is what I'm seeing, you'll become more and more like her. Get it?
Okay. Yeah.
You'll have that facial features. Um, did she have like her bones were decaying or something?
The feet.
The feet, yeah, her feet, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I realized some same patterns in my feet, especially the small toe becomes a hammer toe.
Yep, yeah. The bones. I don't know what happens to the bones. They get chalky or they don't. I don't know. I've never seen that bone structure. Well, it's not a human bone structure. It decays or it morphs into something, and then with that, blood issues and so on like that. So those kind of patterns, and again, I would suggest a longer session, but maybe a couple months. Once you identify who you are, Michael, we can start to remove, like how you age. So you don't have to have the feet issues that she had, or the bone structure issues that she
Okay.
had. Does that make sense to you? So you'll start to look different.
Yeah.
You'll start to look more like you, Thomas, rather than
Yeah.
a version of your mom. And that softness that you have, there's nothing wrong with being soft, but if it's your mom's softness, not Thomas softness, which is a masculine identity, it's not good for you. It's not a good pattern. So you're going to have that softness of a strong, say, Thomas identity coming into you.
Yeah, I would like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where relationships get really intimate. They get really deep. You know who you are. They feel fantastic. So, all right, buddy. Any questions that you have?
Yeah, can you have a look on my teeth? My teeth never have been the best in my life, and my dentist proposed me to exchange my dental crowns into some implantates because
Yeah.
of probably caries under my dental crowns, and I
Yep.
don't like this imagination.
Yeah. So that's what I was talking about. The bone structure, Michael.
Okay.
As you age, the bones, teeth, all over your whole body. Again, it's not as bad as your mom's, obviously, but as you age, you don't want to turn into that. I would do a couple sessions, with me to
Okay.
help you remove, not right away, understand yourself first. Okay. Yeah, there's somebody saying that you already see more, they see you as more masculine already. Your picture, your image of yourself, there's a more of a masculine identity. I see that as well. So your mom, let's just make sure that she's gone where she needs to be. Was she scared of a religion or really hyper religion? Either way, she
No,
was.
she was not religion at all.
Okay. Yeah. So it's really, really interesting because she's so extreme, say, not religious, that she turns into a religious pattern for me. So,
Okay.
because what extremes are basically, you get the same result. Does that make sense to you? If you're super, super religious, you get the same result as if you're extremely against, say, religion.
Okay, like an atheist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. So anyway, she didn't go to heaven, so to speak. She's in the lower realms of consciousness. So anyway, let's take that off you, and then her identity basically leaves you. There was one more thing I was going to say to you as well. Yeah. So again, in a couple months, I would have a session where you'll start to see more and more of yourself, and then we can work at the deeper layers. Oh, what I was going to say is that it's really cool, some of the things that we're doing with XI, recreating hearts, for example. There's this young girl, she's had like 5 heart surgeries by the time she was 10. And now, and they're trying to grow another heart for her, which is kind of cool technology. But with her, from what I'm seeing, working on her, not too many sessions, she's acting like a normal 25-year-old now. She's not limited. She's exercising, she's dating now, and she's going out doing what a 25-year-old does. And again, her heart feels really good. Even the feedback that she's getting from her doctor, like, yeah, your heart's doing really good. So we'll see where that ends, but you can change almost anything as long as you're awakened to it. So really nice job, my friend. Wow, you do look different. After this, I would go look at yourself in the mirror, and you're going to see the vibrancy of that younger person coming out. And that's, I can see that. And that'll provide motivation for you, Michael. So you'll be able to materialize a lot of things. So it's really beautiful. Welcome to your new life.
Thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
I'm very happy.
Yes, you take care. All right.
Thank you.
You bet. All right, guys. So do you see, it's not about your psychology belief system. Sure, that can get you successful or into a relationship, but are you going to be happy? Right? What you're really looking for, that deep integration with yourself. And that's what XI provides. So really nice job. All right, guys. So next week, it's on sovereignty, what freedom truly is about. Okay? It's July 4th here, Freedom Day, excuse me, in the US. So we're going to be talking about sovereignty and how you can actually be truly free. All right. As we end, guys, notice what you notice. There's a lot of good stuff coming up. Oh, if you're new to me, I would suggest taking the elevation meditations. It's once a week. It gets your feet wet, especially because even on the essential now, the frequencies get so powerful that because the changes become so fast. So again, if you're new to me, I would take the elevation. It's once a week on Mondays. Take a look at that. It gets your feet wet into XI, and then the next month around, when the essentials come out or the accelerated, you can jump into that and just really take off. Also, addiction series for those people who are addicted. We did an abuse series a while back. People who have been abused for so long, in 6 weeks. So many transformations, okay? Really good, solid proof that XI works. So the addiction series are coming up for you, and then also the couples event coming up. So take a look at Sajady.com. If you have any comments for us, again, you can comment us back. Sign up for the subscribe to YouTube. Okay, send it out to your friends, and if your friends are, just tell them, hey, this guy's really crazy. See what he has to say. So. Help your friends out as well. Again, so subscribe to YouTube, get on our social media. If you're really into relationships, guys, 13 ways to heal your love pain. Really fantastic. All you have to do is sign up for the newsletter, and you can get that for free. Literally life transforming. All right, guys, I'll see you next time around or on some other channel. Notice what you notice, and then notice the details. All right.